Have you ever felt like you're the main character in a movie? That the world around you only truly exists when you're looking at it? What if I told you that this isn't just a philosophical daydream, but a mind-bending possibility suggested by the strangest science of all, quantum mechanics? Welcome to Bizarre Bureau, where we explore the thin veil between science and the supernatural. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most baffling and profound ideas ever conceived, the observer effect, and the chilling question it asks: does your consciousness create reality? To understand this, we need to travel back to the early 20th century, a time when physicists like Albert Einstein and Niels Bohr were grappling with the bizarre rules of the subatomic world. They discovered something that defied all common sense. Particles like electrons, the tiny building blocks of everything, don't behave like tiny billiard balls. Instead, they exist in a fuzzy, ghostly state of all possibilities at once. This is called a superposition. An electron isn't here or there. It's potentially everywhere it could be, all at the same time, existing as a wave of probability. Weird, right? But it gets weirder. This is where the legendary double-slit experiment comes in. Imagine firing single electrons at a barrier with two small slits in it. Behind the barrier is a screen that detects where the electrons land. If electrons were simple particles, you'd expect to see two distinct lines on the screen, corresponding to the two slits. But that's not what happens. When nobody is looking at which slit the electron goes through, the electrons act like waves. They seem to pass through both slits simultaneously, interfere with themselves, and create a complex interference pattern on the screen, multiple lines of alternating high and low intensity. It's as if each single electron knew the whole setup and acted accordingly. Now for the part that breaks your brain. The moment scientists place a detector at the slits to observe which one the electron actually passes through, the entire game changes. The interference pattern vanishes. Instead, we get exactly what we'd expect from a simple particle: two distinct lines behind the slits. The very act of measuring, of observing, forces the electron to choose a path. The wave of possibilities collapses into a single definite reality. It's like the universe is shy. When we aren't looking, it plays by a strange, wavy set of rules. But the moment we peek, it snaps to attention and pretends to be normal and predictable. This is the observer effect in a nutshell. For decades, this was a puzzle primarily for physicists. The observer was just a measuring device, a piece of lab equipment. The interaction of the device with the quantum system was enough to cause the collapse. But a group of brilliant, and perhaps daring, thinkers started to ask a more profound question. What is an observer, really? A Geiger counter? A camera? At what point does an observation truly become an observation? Some, like the legendary physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a colleague of Einstein, proposed a radical idea. He called it the participatory universe. Wheeler suggested that the universe doesn't just exist out there, independent of us. Instead, we are participants in bringing it into being. He argued that information is the most fundamental thing in the universe, and an act of observation is an act of registering information. And what is the ultimate register of information? Consciousness. This leads us to the heart of our mystery today, the idea that consciousness itself is the special ingredient that collapses the wave function. According to this theory, it's not the physical detector that forces the electron to choose. It's the conscious mind that becomes aware of the measurement's result. Before a conscious being perceives the outcome, the entire system, the electron, the detector, the computer screen remains in a state of superposition. It's only when the information enters a mind that reality solidifies. Think about it. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? The quantum version is, if a quantum event happens and no consciousness is there to register it, did it even happen in a definite way? According to this interpretation, the answer is no. The universe, at its most fundamental level, might be a sea of infinite potential, waiting for a conscious mind to look at it and say, Beavis, let's take this idea to its logical and frankly terrifying conclusion. If consciousness creates reality on the quantum level, and everything is made of quantum stuff, Does that mean your mind is shaping the world around you every single moment? This is where we step from physics into metaphysics, but it's a step that many brilliant minds have been willing to take. Proponents of this view, like physicist Amit Goswami, argue for what they call monistic idealism, the idea that consciousness is the ground of all being. The physical world isn't the primary reality, consciousness is. The material world emerges from it. This sounds a lot like ancient spiritual teachings, doesn't it? The idea that the world is an illusion, or maya, and that a universal consciousness is the only true reality. It's fascinating when the furthest reaches of modern science seem to echo the deepest insights of ancient mysticism. Of course, this is a highly controversial and speculative idea within the scientific community. The vast majority of physicists would argue for more mundane explanations. One popular alternative is the decoherence theory. It suggests that a quantum system doesn't need a conscious observer to collapse. It just needs to interact with its environment. The trillions of air molecules, photons, and stray particles in any real-world setting are constantly measuring the quantum system, causing its wave-like properties to collapse almost instantly. In this view, a cat in a box isn't both alive and dead until you open it. It becomes one or the other in a fraction of a second due to interaction with its own environment. It's a much less romantic idea, but it avoids the philosophical headache of placing human consciousness at the center of the cosmos. Another mind-bending alternative is the many worlds interpretation proposed by Hugh Everett III. This theory says the wave function never collapses at all. Instead, every time a quantum measurement is made, the universe splits. In one universe, the electron went through the left slit. In another identical universe, it went through the right. So when you make a choice, you're not creating a single reality. You are simply proceeding down one branch of an infinitely branching tree of universes. In this view, every possibility is realized somewhere. There's a universe where you took that job, a universe where you asked that person out, and a universe where you decided not to watch this video. This theory elegantly solves the measurement problem without needing a conscious observer, but it comes at the cost of accepting an infinite number of parallel realities we can never access. Which idea is harder to believe? So, where does that leave us? On one hand, we have the provocative, almost spiritual idea that our consciousness plays a vital role in shaping the very fabric of existence. On the other, we have more scientifically conservative, yet equally strange, explanations like decoherence and the many worlds interpretation. The truth is, we don't know for sure. This is the bleeding edge of science, where physics meets philosophy. What we do know is that the simple, clockwork universe we thought we lived in is gone. Reality is far weirder, more mysterious, and more interconnected than we ever imagined. The double-slit experiment is a permanent crack in our understanding of the world, a constant reminder that what we perceive as solid and real might just be one possibility plucked from an ocean of potential by the very act of looking. The next time you look up at the moon, consider John Wheeler's famous thought experiment. According to quantum mechanics, a photon of light travels from the moon to your eye as a wave of possibilities. It is only when it hits your retina and your brain registers it that its path becomes a single concrete reality. In a way, by observing the photon, you are participating in the creation of its history, reaching back in time to define its path. You didn't just see the moon. You helped create the reality of that observation. So, are we gods in training, shaping the cosmos with every glance? Or are we just passengers on one timeline in an infinite multiverse? The Bizarre Bureau can't give you the answer, because nobody has it. But the question itself is what matters. It forces us to reconsider our place in the universe and the incredible power that might be locked away inside our own minds. The world isn't just something you see, it's something you do. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the quantum realm. What do you think? Does consciousness create reality, or is it all just complex physics? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the strange and unexplained, Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Bizarre Bureau for more adventures into the unknown. Until next time, keep questioning everything.